So, welcome all of you to our meeting tonight. The last head count I saw, we had 29 on the call, which is a good meeting. I know we have several people with us tonight from the Gateway Mac user group. Recognize you all from past meetings. Do we have any other visitors with us this evening? Well, I don't hear anybody and I don't see any hands waved, so I'm thinking we don't this evening, so let us proceed. So a little bit about us. A lot of this is redundant with what was in the newsletter. The most important thing is where we have 53 active paid members in a lot of ways for those of you who want to keep up with us to follow up with what's going on. What are we doing tonight? Well, we have a few announcements, very few, to be honest. Then Ron Mueller of Gamma will talk about the announcements last week at the Apple event. And Christian will be our primary speaker and is going to share a lot of information about widgets. And if you haven't already, he's put in the chat a file that you can download that is his workshop on widgets. So I would encourage you to do that before Christian began his talk. A little bit about us. There is the board. Our board meets the first Wednesday of every month. And our board has really not been changed too much in a year. Tom Morris joined it. Robert Frazier left at the beginning of this year, but other than that, it is the same board we've had for a while. We have a number of volunteers that do a variety of things. Some of you were helping at the beginning of this meeting as a help desk and so forth. So those of you who are listed in green have told me you're doing it again this year. If you haven't, let me know and I will make sure that I have updated this to reflect that you're continuing in this position for 2024, even though we're halfway over. So, quick thing we don't have any visitors, but I'll run through this. Why should be a member of CapMac? Certainly, we invite everyone to join our meetings, but we encourage everyone to join. Some benefits of being a paid member and the different fee levels. That's mostly something I want to share when we have visitors. So if you have interest in going back into our archive, we have Zoom recordings of meetings going back through, and I should put the year on here, but I believe through 2020. So we have about 4 years of meetings in our library that you can go back and check out. And thanks to Bill O'Barr and Robert, they have an index in each of those in our YouTube library. So you can pick and choose what portion of the video you want to jump to instead of having to sit through the entire thing. Help desk, as several questions were asked earlier, is always the first half hour of our meeting, or I should say the half hour preceding the meeting, since we really start our meetings at 7 p.m. It gives everyone a chance to ask questions and get the answer from the accumulated knowledge of the group. If you have a question before a meeting or outside of our meeting schedule, send an email to President at CapMac and I'll make sure that that question gets forwarded to our help desk committee.
I was on their Twitter committee, but I forgot.
Say again?
Oh, sorry.
I did include a newsletter this time. It kind of was short, but I'd already skipped 1 month, so I put it in here. Basically, an accumulation of things that I or others have contributed that they thought was of interest. If you find something, send it out, send it to me, and I'll include it in the next issue. So what's our news of interest this month? Well, the most items are these listed, and these really aren't new. These are offers that are available through the Worldwide Mac User Group, discounts on a variety of products. Several of you have contacted me about getting the key to get into those. If you have interest, let me know and I'll get the information you need to you. And let me ask at this point, just keep in mind that if any of you have something of a technical nature to share, a tip, a product that you've come across you think others would be interested in, let us know. Specifically, let Nathan know so that you can be included in a future program. We're always looking for our members to contribute things that they know that they think others would be interested in. I put this in the email that I sent out. Now, for those of you who are members of CapMac, you know that we normally have a picnic every May. Right now, we're looking for a new location for that picnic. Where we had been going has become prohibitively expensive. So we're looking for a new location. I'm really asking for some of you to help with that process. If you are interested in helping in either determining a new location or help planning the picnic, please send me an email and I will then get you in touch with the committee that's working on that event. So I hope to hear from a few of you in the days ahead. Second thing, as you saw in the email, we've put together a survey that's going to be sent out probably tomorrow. So you'll get another email from us. It's just you'll have a text, go in and check off the boxes as appropriate for your response and send it back to president@capmac.org. That way the board will accumulate that information and use it for other planned meetings and events during this year. And lastly, I was contacted by a gentleman, and I'll let you read this while I talk. Basically, he has a bunch of old stuff, and he was curious whether we in CapMac would have anyone that has any use in it or thought of a place that he might donate it. So if you are interested in it, or if you know of a place or a person that might be interested in this, again, let me know at president@capmac.org, and I will get you in contact with one another. Every once in a while, we'll get somebody to come in and make a request like this. Now, I'm too far along. Okay, that finishes all of my announcements that I have for this evening. Before we begin our program, are there any questions or announcements? Well, hearing none, then I'm going to turn it over to the Gateway group to talk about what happened at the last Apple announcement, and I will quit sharing my screen.
Okay. That was just a week ago. It was Apple's event, and it's really about iPads and iPad Air and iPad Pro. So iPad Air, they come in two sizes, 11 and 13 inches. They have 4 colors. They all have the M2 chip on them. They have an Apple Pencil that goes with them, Touch ID, 12 megapixel camera, and they're 50% faster than the old iPad Airs. Hopefully it works out the rest of them. But anyway, do you see that slide?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's Apple's summary of what the iPad Air has, the two sizes, the 50% faster than the M1 chip for the M2 now. You have up to 1 terabyte storage, 12 megapixel camera for colors, and so on, a liquid retina display.
Okay.
The storage options are 128, 256, and 512, and a 1 terabyte iPad Air. They start at 11-inch for $599 and 13-inch at $799. And they're available next, well, that was last week, so that's available now. Then they went to the iPad Pro, which is pretty new. They have a tandem OLED display. So the OLED display, they actually have 2 displays sandwiched on top of each other, and it has a higher, what would you say, brightness and shadows and low light and responsive and content in motion. Biggest thing is the M4 chip, which is the newest chip that Apple has. And it's also the 3 nanometer technology, which is very efficient on energy use. They still have the 10 and actually 11 and 15 inch, 13 inch, I'm sorry. Let's see. 50% faster in the M2 chip and 4 times faster in the GPU in the M2 chip. The Ultra Retina display is, you can see there, ProMotion, Magic Keyboard, landscape 12 megapixel camera. Camera's also in landscape mode, so you don't have to hold it upright, but sideways. Face ID, LiDAR scanner, and nano textured glasses. The iPad Pro has these 4 storage options, and $999 11-inch, and from $1299 for the 13-inch. They also have accessories. The Magic Keyboard is new. At least it's reconfigured. 11-inch, $299, and 13-inch, $349. And the new Apple Pencil Pro, which is $129. And it has a lot of new features. Haptic feedback, double tap, barrel roll, squeeze, even to Find My, so you can find it if you lose it somewhere. And wireless pairing and charging. They also have the iPad, the older model was $349. And so kind of a summary is there's the iPad Air, and the iPad Pro. And that's it. It took about 40 minutes for them to come to this thing, and that is me.
Okay. You know, I gotta say, the one big disappointment for me, I use my Apple Pencil quite a bit, and I have the M1 iPad Pro 12.9 inch. And like I said, I use my pencil a lot, and I was real excited as I'm watching this new pencil because it looks like it has a lot of really cool features. And I was really bummed out that I can't use that with my iPad Pro that's only 2 years old. That it's only compatible.
You have to break down and buy a new one, get it.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I really want to do that. I just want the new Apple Pencil, unfortunately. Anybody planning on getting a new iPad?
Already did that. Got one order. I got a 12-inch iPad Air, the blue color to be specific, with the 256 gigs of storage on order for my dear wife. We pick it up at the Apple Store on Saturday. I traded in and I'm sorry, I can't remember the generation, it was a 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Interesting story behind that very quickly. I had gotten that thing because I thought when I got the thing that I might be trying to substitute an iPad for a Mac. I learned that I'm too much of a Mac head to really be able to do that. So I was showing the thing to my dear wife, and she said, "Oh, I could see my not crossword, but puzzles and all of her other games." And so she said, "I can see those a lot easier on that big screen." And since I decided I kind of wasn't going to use it much, I just handed it to her and said, "Here." So now that the iPad, and when that one when I thought when that starts to die, I really don't want to have to pay the very high prices of getting a new MacBook Pro to get her a 12.9/13-inch size. So the onset of the 12-inch or the 13-inch iPad Air was a blessing because I was able to get her at a price I could afford, as something at the size that she can use. And as I say, they did give me a trade on the old one. I haven't gotten the trade-in kit yet. And then we pick up the new iPad on the Apple Store on Saturday. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know how much you're getting for yours, John. I was just curious what my 2-year-old, like iPad Pro, the 12, like I said, it was 12.9-inch M1. And so I acted as though I was buying the new one. I think they were going to give me, I want to say it was something like $540 for it.
Yeah, mine was a couple generations old. I think it gave me something like 315. It wasn't much, but you know what? It's $315 that otherwise would have just gone to waste. So I went ahead and took it. Now the other thing I asked her, I said, she uses the thing mostly just like I say for not for creating content, just for watching things. Said, do you want the Apple Pencil? Oh yeah, I've been kind of interested in doing that. Okay. So the one that I got her was the USB-C pencil. Turns out, and I wasn't aware of this at the time, shame on me for not doing my homework, but the USB-C pencil does not support wireless charging. It does not support double tapping to change the tip size. And there was another crucial feature, I can't remember what it was now, that it does not support. So when we go to the store to pick up the iPad, I'm going to have to change the USB-C pencil for the Pencil Pro. And again, and this echoes something you were saying earlier, Glenn. I have the second generation Apple Pencil like you have. The new iPads don't support that pencil. Okay, so if you want to buy a new pencil to use with your old iPad, you can't. If you got an old pencil and want to use it with your new iPad, you can't. You got to update everything. So they got us one way or the other. But she wants to use the pencil, and the Pencil Pro, I think is a pretty good buy, especially since it supports Find My, because God only knows where these things can hide. So I'm looking forward to that, but kind of disappointed that I was not able to use the pencil that I have. But oh well.
Yeah, I think that kind of sucks that they're not interchangeable. Like I said, I'm watching the new pencil stuff. I'm like, oh, this is great. Oh, I want to use that. I'm going to get one of these. And then, sorry, you can't unless you want to buy a new iPad. Because I really do use my pencil a lot for a number of different uses. And so that's a shame because I really don't want to have to go out and spend, X amount of money for a new iPad Pro. And John, like your wife, once you get used to that nice big screen, it's hard to go back to the smaller one, in my opinion.
Well, do we have any other questions for Ron before we move on to Christian? All right, well, Christian, we'll turn it over to you for the rest of the program.
Okay, marvelous, good. So I've got a couple little bonus things here for us before we start. When I was watching John with his slides, I've got this screen that's this big, right? But when I was watching the slides, I had them. It was like this big, and so you probably know this already. I'm gonna show you the way you should do it. You should do what I do, and you should click up here where it says fit. Let's say view options, and this is fit to Windows. So if I'm showing you today my iPhone, which I'm going to do, it's only this big. Blow it up so that it looks big. Okay, you're allowed to do that. You don't stretch it. You let them stretch it. So that's our first bonus thing there. Did you see that? So fit to Windows, what you're going to do. So when you're someone else sharing the screen, it's up to you to make it fit your window. Okay, and then the other thing is, just to remind you that this ChatGPT thing is for real. Let's just say that you want to give an outline for a 1-hour talk about iOS widgets. This is me asking ChatGPT during the tech support section of our meeting. I just threw this in here, and they wrote me a very nice outline. Well, okay, I already have an outline. I'm not showing up here with nothing and just gonna fake it here by letting ChatGPT do it. But goodness gracious, I asked it to make me an outline for a 1-hour talk about iOS widgets, and they said, here it is. Introduction, 5 minutes, understanding widgets, how do you make a widget, real world examples, blah, blah, blah. So actually, I even asked them twice. I did one here too. So anyway, we're going to do, in fact, here's adding widgets to the home screen. Yeah, we're gonna do that too. So anyway, use ChatGPT. It can save you a gob of time. All right, so that's that. Let's get on with our widget workshop. So I'm calling this a widget workshop because
Question.
Yeah.
So that ChatGPT outline was the work of ChatGPT unaltered?
Yes. 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 And I
And then
only
I guess you took that as a starting point for ideas for what to do here.
Well, I didn't because I've given this talk before, so I had this already. But if I had to give a talk for the first time, I might, yeah. And it's awfully good at that kind of thing. And if you tell them, well, you know, that sounds a little too complicated, or give me some examples, and they'll say sure. Or you can even say, give me a joke to start it off. They'll probably do that too. All right. Okay, but now hopefully you are seeing my screen that says Christian Boyce's Widget Workshop. Are we seeing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. And I'm hoping that you will, you know, watch this on your Mac or on your iPad and pull out your phone and try to work along with me, and we'll do some things. The handout is going to be more of a reminder of what we did today. It's not going to tell you everything, but it'll tell you something. Okay, so let's get started here. So let's start with what are we going to talk about? Well, we're talking about widgets, and mostly we're going to talk about them for the iPhone. But it turns out that whatever you learn here with the iPhone is going to directly translate and transfer to the iPad. So I've got an iPad here, and it's got widgets on it too. You can even put widgets on your Mac. I don't think we're going to get to that today, but just know that these things exist. So let's find out what is a widget anyway. Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about. And what do you need? Well, you probably have it. So I'll talk about that. How do we make a widget? Okay, that's going to be Widgets 101. Then we're going to talk about editing and using them, which we'll call Widgets 102. And then we'll go to grad school here, and we'll take it to the next level. Okay, so this is all going to happen in about an hour. And if there's a question, if you've got a burning question and you think the rest of the group's going to be interested in it, then let's have the question. If it's if I think that it's off topic, I'll just have to say, you know what, I'm going to have to come back to that. But feel free to ask. It's your meeting. So let's talk about what's a widget. Well, what is a widget? Well, and why would you want to have one if you could have one? Well, the main thing is that widgets give you information at a glance. Everything on our iPhone, when you look at your iPhone, you see all these apps, and you want to know what the weather is. You touch the weather app. That's pretty easy. You want to look at your reminders. You touch the reminders app. So you're touching apps. You want to look at your calendar. You touch the calendar app. You want to know what time it is in another city, you touch the clock app, and then you switch to another city, and so on and so forth. But with widgets, you're going to get information without touching anything, just by looking. They also give you big targets for tapping. Now, if you look at, I don't know if you can see my phone here, but they're hard to touch. They're little. My fingers are big, but we're going to make big targets for that. We're going to customize the look of our phone with widgets. And as I said before, if you learn it on the iPhone, it's going to work on your iPad. So let's see some widgets here. So this is this typical iPhone. Here's an iPhone with widgets. Okay, what do we see here? Well, on this one in the middle, we can tell what time it is right away, 9:21 when I took the screenshot. Even though, of course, we see the time in the top left corner, but it's a lot smaller. And I can see what day it is. It's Saturday, March 2nd when I took that screenshot. And I can see the weather in Santa Monica, that there's a chance to rain at the moment. And boy, is that easy to see. I didn't have to touch anything. So we want those things. Here's some more widgets. That actually is my own real iPhone. The one on the right, it's exactly how I have my iPhone set up. So I see in great big letters what time, well, great big numbers, what time it is. I've got the weather actually in more than one city over there on the right. You can't tell, but right now I'm showing that's Round Rock. I've got on the left, I've got my upcoming event that was Eric's birthday. And down below, I have my part of my to-do list. And over to the right, I have some photos. So all of these things that I'm going to outline here are widgets. And I just like this groovy effect that you can do in Keynote. You can make a line run around like a box like that. Okay, so if you're giving a Keynote talk, this is one of the effects you want to use. See, we're just full of tips here. Okay, so now those were the widgets, the ones I highlight, but you can just see that my phone, the one on the right looks really different than the one on the left. The one on the left is just a bunch of clutter. And yes, it's got a calendar. Yes, it's got the clock. Yes, it's got the weather. Yes, it's got photos. But that's all the top row. You can see the top row. Those are my apps. But I don't want to have to touch them to do anything with them. Okay. So let's see how we do it. And what do we, well, let's first of all see, do we have what it takes to use a widget and to make a widget? Almost for sure. Because first time they came out with widgets was iOS 8. Good grief. So, you know, we're on 17 now. I think you probably have what it takes, okay? So you don't have to be on 17. You can be on 16 or 15 or 14. All this stuff's going to work the same. Now, you don't go like to the Apple widget store and try to find widgets. Widgets are like a little window into an app. So someone who makes an app has to build in the widget. And there are an awful lot of apps that have widgets built into them, and they're lonely. Nobody goes into them and gets the widget. You want the widget, okay? So we have to find apps that have widgets built in. I'll show you how you can find the list of widgets, the list of apps that have widgets on your own phone. Okay, so let's make one. So we're gonna do this more than once. So if you don't get it the first time, we'll get it the second time. So I'm gonna sort of run through the steps here that are canned on a slide. Then we're gonna do it for real on my phone. Okay. So let's do it. Let's just jot down what the steps are. Well, we're gonna make a clock widget, and our first thing we're gonna do is we got to get into jiggle mode. So you know how jiggle mode goes. You touch your phone, and you hold it until something starts to wiggle. Okay. So it looks like that with a bunch of little minus signs on the apps. You'll tap this little plus up at the top left there that I'm just bordering, and then you will see something like this. And if you scroll up and down on that list, it turns out that you see an alphabetical list of apps that have widgets in them. And we'll scroll down until we find the clock widget. We'll have to obviously scroll a little further than this picture shows. And once we find the widget we want, typically there's more than one kind of widget in a given app. So you can see all the little dots across the bottom there. That means that there's that many different widgets. You can swipe through them left to right. And when you find one that you like, you're going to hit that add widget button down at the bottom. Now, the first thing you're going to do wrong is the thing that I still do wrong all the time, is you'll try to touch the widget itself. You'll try to be touching the thing that you've picked. You always have to hit the button at the bottom that says add widget. Otherwise, you don't add it. And it just sits there and you think I've done something wrong. Okay. So after you've done it, you'll see a widget show up in the top left corner of the home screen you were on. Now, first thing to know is if you've arranged your icons, your apps, and you just love the way they are, you have to know that when we make a widget, it's going to take over the first 4 spaces up there at the top left, and it's going to push your stuff around. So obviously there's not enough room on this screen to hold what used to be on the screen plus the widget. So something's got moved onto the next screen or maybe further. So just be aware that this is going to require some rearranging. All right. I don't want you to get mad at me for messing up your screen, but trust me, it's worth it. All right. Okay. Now, once you've done it, everything will still be wiggling. To make it stop jiggling, you got a couple ways. There'll be a button at the top right that'll say done. There'll be, of course, you can also tap in any blank space. That'll make it stop. Or you can just sit around a while and it'll stop by itself. So if you got it into jiggle mode and you just let go and you just watch it, it'll eventually stop. Okay. So let's do that now. I'm going to stop sharing that and I'm going to start sharing my own iPhone here. Let's just do it. All right. So sharing. I gotta find here's my share button. Thank you. Do this. And I'm going to say share. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. So pretty soon you should see my screen from my iPhone. Okay. So ready, set, go. Yeah, well, we'll see. Okay. So here we go. You see a screen? You see an iPhone screen here?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay, so look, let's do the steps. I'm gonna just remind you, if you've got the handout, you'll know what it is. But first thing we do is get in jiggle mode. So I'm gonna touch down towards the bottom, down where it's lots of blank space. That just keeps me from dragging something wrong. So I'm just gonna touch there and hold it, and everything wiggles. Now there's that plus up at the top left that I promised you. On an iPad, it's actually gonna be on the right. Okay, but we're going to touch the one on the left because what we're trying to do, which I just botched, I'm going to hit that and we're going to add a widget. Okay, now what you see here are some suggested widgets that Apple thinks you might want. And they might be right, but we're going to scroll down here. And once we get down to here, this is our list of apps that have widgets in them. Okay. So we're going to scroll through here and we're going to make a clock widget. So we're going to scroll down here until we find clock, but you can see there's quite a list here, right? Not every app has a widget. And even of the ones that have them, there may be some that you've got no interest in their widgets, but there's a lot to choose from, and that's where you find them. So I'm going to go here to clock. So you see I've got clock there. I'll put it right at the top. There's clock. I'm going to touch clock. And now they're showing me the different widgets that will display the time. So this one would look like this. I'm going to swipe over here. I've got a nice one like this. And this is just going to show, both of these are just simply going to show you the current time. This one, this one, this one, kind of modern. This one. Now we get to slightly different. These widgets show you the time in a certain place. So if you've got, let's say you're like me and you're in California, you might want to put 2 clocks up. You might want to put one up that shows, Los Angeles time and another one that shows Austin time. Well, you could do that here. So I'm going to add a clock that shows me Los Angeles time right now. Maybe we'll make another one later. So I'm going to take either that one or this one or this one. And when it says cup up there, it's for Cupertino. Okay, that's why it says that. So you can see, though, there's even some that have multiple clocks in them. and you get to pick which time zones they're going to use. But I'm going to just pick. I'm going to pick this nice round one here, and of course I was about to touch it. It won't work. Okay, it still won't work. I can tap it all day long. You got to hit the button at the bottom that says Add Widgets. So okay, I've done it, and there it is. Now, it's wiggling, and I could just say done, and there it is. And it happens that I'm in the same time zone as Cupertino, so it's an okay thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch it and hold it, and I'm going to edit this widget now. So by touching and holding it, it's sort of like getting into wiggle mode, but not quite. I'm going to go to Edit Widget. And I'm going to tell it the city I want. I'm going to put Los Angeles. I can either search, or I can just sort of scroll around here. I know it starts with an L. Here's Los Angeles. Okay, so I've got a clock. Oh, by the way, there's no save button. You simply touch where there's something else, and it spins back around. So you touch it to hold it like this, edit the widget. Then to get out of this, we're going to touch anywhere that's not in that lighter gray area, like either towards the top or towards the bottom, and it just spins back. Okay. So we made a clock widget. Got it? Okay. All right.
Talking.
I'm getting it straight. I'm fixing to come in.
Okay, so good. Let's stay muted if we can. So we made a clock widget. Let's make another widget. So I'm going to go back to my handout for a moment here, and let's see what our second one is. I'm going to share. Hello, Nancy. All right, I'm going to share my my presentation over there. I'd probably do both at once. I really could have, couldn't I? Well, all right. So we've run through these steps. So what do? We got into jiggle mode. We tapped the little plus. We scrolled down till we found what we wanted. And then we picked the clock widget sort of family, and then we scrolled around till we found one we wanted. We remembered to click the button, and then we got out of jiggling mode. Great. We even learned how to edit the widget. Okay, let's do another one. So this one, I'm gonna make a calendar widget. What do you think we're gonna do first? First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get into jiggle mode. Then we're going to hit the plus. What do we always do? Then we're going to scroll around until we find calendar. And then we're gonna pick the calendar widget that we want in the list. And then we're going to pick it. And so in this case, I wanna do the one that's called up next, because it shows me what's coming up next in my calendar. Add the widget, and it'll take up the space at the top left. We'll get out of jiggle mode. We know how to do that. Okay, so let's do it together. All right, here we go. Sharing the screen, sharing my phone. Here we go. I can do what I do. All right, it's a miracle of Zoom that I can share an iPhone screen like this, 1,400 miles with no wires. Okay. All right, so here we are. Let's make another widget. Okay, so what do? We put our finger where there's nothing, and we hold it for a while. Technically, you can put your finger anywhere and hold it for a while. It'll jiggle. Like I say, I just like to keep my fingers off the apps. I don't want to accidentally drag one onto another one. Okay, so we're wiggling. We hit the plus. I'm going to scroll around, and I just skipped the calendar that they suggested, but I'm going to come down here to calendar. I'm going to look at these. So here's the up next one. This is showing me that there's going to be a NHL playoff game, Vancouver and Edmonton at 6:30 my time. That's my next event on my calendar. But I could see a bigger calendar like this. This one shows me that my friend Reggie's birthday was today. And there's my hockey game. And it shows me that there's a basketball game coming up as well. Okay, I could pick that one. I could pick this one. I could pick this one just to show me the big date. This one in case you just want to see like that. These take up more room, right? This is a bigger one. This is a smaller one. I'm gonna go back to that very first one and just pick this one. So I'm gonna hit the add widget button, and it flies up there just like as predicted, and I'm gonna tap done. Okay, now before I go any further, you might think it's kind of a waste of space that like I've got this clock here, I've got that calendar there, but what if I want to actually look at the calendar? What if I want to look at the clock? Well, it turns out that the widget will launch the app. So if I touch the clock, my clock widget there on the top right where it says LA, if I touch that, there's the clock app, right? This is the same clock app that you would get by touching the clock app icon. Why not touch a bigger icon? I mean, truth is, I've got maybe, I don't know, some couple hundred apps on here, but the things I use a lot: clocks, calendars, photos, and a to-do list. So let's make them big. Let's make them so that I can get some information from them on the fly without touching it. And let's make it so if I do have to touch it, my target's big. So same with the calendar. If I touch the calendar, up comes the calendar. Okay, it's the same calendar. It's just another way to get into it. All right, we're gonna make, believe it or not, we're gonna make another one. Okay, so let's do, what kind should we do? Well, let's see. How about we'll do oh, I don't know. Let's find out. We'll both be surprised. All right. So how about a weather widget? Okay, everybody cares about the weather. So what do we always do? Get into jiggle mode, right? Good. Then we're going to tap a little plus. That's what we always do. Then we're going to look for the weather widget by scrolling. If it's already there, that's so much the better. Then we're going to pick the one that looks just the way we like it. We'll add the widget and we'll make it stop jiggling, right? Okay, so I think you're getting the idea on that. So let's share my phone and we'll just do it together one more time. Okay, here we go. iPhone sharing, ready, go. All right, so you see nothing yet, but you will in a minute. Here, amazing. Okay, good. I think we're sharing it. Okay, let's get back here. So where was I? I was here. Let's make a weather widget. So we put our finger where there's nothing. It wiggles. It jiggles. We hit the plus. This weather one looks pretty good. I'm gonna, since they're showing this to me right in front of me, I think I'm gonna take it. But when I touch it, I get all these other options. So let's just scroll through here. The first one is just high and low and the current temperature for where I am. Here's one that's a little bit bigger. It takes up 2 lines. Two lines of twice as much of a widget take over there. This one takes up 4. I don't need that. This one's got some other information: wind, air quality, precipitation, and this one has a little bit of a forecast. I like looks at that. This is showing me sunrise and sunset. All nice. I think I'm going to take this one. So I'm going to touch add widget, and there it is. So now we have 3. Okay, and I'm going to do one more without actually going into the slides, because I think we know so much already. You don't need to watch the slides here. So let's make one more. I'm going to hit the plus. This one I'm going to make a photo widget. Okay, I'm going to have photos. So we're going to scroll down here. I'm going to find photos. Of course, I could search. There's a search box up there, but it's not such a giant list that I don't mind scrolling here. So let's go to photos. And you know those neat little featured memory things that Apple does? That's the kind of thing that you get in a widget here. So here's a trips to Los Angeles in 2010. Here's a chicken that's a turkey I was cooking at Thanksgiving. Here's I can pick an album and say I want to shuffle through these pictures in this album. This is a wildflower album. I could do that. And here's some more favorites like this. So you can pick an album and put the pictures you like in there, or here I'm just going to let them give me the stuff that they think is right for today. So nothing, what's more right for May than Christmas lights. So I'm going to hit add widget, and now I'm done. So what can we do about this? Well, okay, a couple things. First of all, we can rearrange widgets. Well, we're gonna see in a minute that we can edit widgets by dragging them around. So I'm gonna put the clock at the top left and the calendar to the top right. Let's see how that works. So I'm gonna touch the clock. It's gonna wiggle, and now I'm just gonna drag it around carefully, and it ends up there. Now I'm gonna take put my finger on the calendar here, and I'm going to move it up if I can. Oh, not quite, huh? It's not that easy, but there we go. So now I've arranged them the way I want. And it doesn't have to be the way I've done it, where I've got the widgets on top and the apps on the bottom. I could do it like this. I could take photos here. I'm going to touch the photos one. I could drag it down here like this. Perfectly okay. It's all up to you. So let's put this down here like this. So we've made widgets. Okay, we're practically an expert already. Let's talk about editing widgets. And I think what I'm going to do, I think since you have the ability to get the handout from the chat, let's just do it. We'll do it all live here, and you can refer back to the handout later if you need it. Okay, so now I've already told you that tapping a widget launches the app. That's great. That saves you the time, because if one of the first questions we get when I'm showing how to make a widget is someone says, well, I still need to have the clock icon on there, right? No, you don't. I still need to have the calendar icon on there, don't I? No, you don't, because the widget stands in for the icon. So that's great to know that tapping the widget launches the app. I showed you how to drag widgets around. You can put them onto other pages. It doesn't have to just be on this page. We can edit them by tapping and holding. So let's say that I decide that I'm going to add another clock here. So I'm going to add another clock so that I've got Los Angeles time and also Austin time. So I'm going to hit the plus. I'm going to hit the black part, make it wiggle, hit the plus, find a clock, and I'm going to make this clock look a little different. So hit this clock. I'm going to make the clock look so different that I'll always know which one's the Austin one, which one's the Los Angeles one. What you don't want to do is pick one of these clocks because they don't have a location in them. They don't say Cupertino on them, right? So you got to keep going till you find a Cupertino one. So I'm going to make this one, even though I don't want it to be Cupertino, it's got to have that label up there. So I'm going to add that widget. And now I'm going to tap it now that since it's already wiggling, and I'm going to make that one say Austin. So we'll go here to the A's, and I'll make that one's Austin. So now, and then again, to get out of this, there's no close box, there's no save, there's no done. You just got to find a black spot to tap. So I either go up high or down low. There's either way will work. So now you can see when I say done, my square clock is your time and my round clock is my time. So very handy. So that's how you edit a widget. You tap it and you hold it, right? You tap it and you hold it. I'm tapping that one right there and I'm holding it. I go to, if I had gone to edit widget, it would have worked. So let me try it again. Tap it, hold it, edit widget. And I can put in some other time zone, okay? So now we know how to edit widgets. They all work the same. And as you can see, I just demonstrated that it's perfectly okay to have two widgets from the same app. In fact, the Austin one could have been a round one too. But by making one of them square and one of them round, it's easier for me to know that the square one is Austin. Not that Austin's square in any way. All right, so widgets can be stacked. All right, so this gets interesting. Let's say I want to know the weather in Santa Monica, but I also want to know the weather in Austin. But I don't really need to know the weather in Austin very often because I'm not there very often. I make phone calls to Austin, so it's good to have the clock. But to have the weather, that would be interesting, but only on occasion. So what if I could have like two weather widgets and stack them together so that I could look at Austin when I wanted to, but look at Santa Monica most of the time? Well, here we go. I'm going to add a widget. I'm going to hit the plus. I'm going to hit another weather widget. And I'm not going to take this one. I'm going to take one that's just like the one I made. But when I add this widget, I almost clicked on the widget itself. Never works. I hit this. Now I'm going to change this one. Okay, I'm going to tap it. I'm going to make one not say my location. I'm going to make this one say Round Rock. That's where my house is. So I've got my Round Rock one there. But you notice I lost my other one. Well, where'd it go? Well, it's probably on the next page here. Here it is. So I'm going to pull this guy back. Okay, I'm gonna grab this and move it to the next page, just like we do. And it's still not right, right? I promised that we were going to stack them. Well, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna drag it on top of it. Just like when you drag two apps together, they're gonna stack. At the moment, you can see the two little dots to the right of the widget. That's showing us that we've got two things stacked in there. So when I say done here, there's Santa Monica, and then I can put my finger on it. I'm gonna kind of scroll down, boop, and there's Round Rock. Okay, so I'm scrolling through here, and it's just gonna keep going. I don't have to go back and forth. I can just roll through. I could have 10 in there. All right, so that's how that works. So it's nice to be able to see the other weather when I want to, but it's not cluttering up my screen. So I can go look, okay, it's 82 in Round Rock. Go back here, beautiful 64 here. Okay.
How can you separate the two of them?
Ah, that's a great question. Okay, so I'm gonna put my finger on it and wiggle. I'm gonna edit. What I wanted to do was say edit stack. I'm gonna grab one of these. I'm gonna pull it out. Okay. And you see if I can pull it out, I've done it, right? I did what you wanted. It's actually on the, I don't know where it went, but here it is. No, here it isn't. Where'd it go? I lost it. Okay, I'm gonna say done. We'll do it again. This gives me a chance. You think I did that on accident? This is a learning experience. This is time for me to show you that actually a stack could have more than one kind of widget in it. I'm gonna put my Austin time in there too. So I'm gonna touch this widget. I'm going to drag it on here if I can. And now you can see I've got two widgets in there, right? You can tell. I'm going to say done so I can scroll through there. I got weather and I got time. Now I'm going to answer your question and see if I can do it right. We're going to tap on this widget. We're going to say edit the stack. I get to here. I'm going to try to drag this out. Now, while we're here, we get to talk about this thing called Smart Rotate. Smart Rotate means that Siri is going to watch what I do and try to show me the right item in that stack at the right time. So that's pretty interesting. If in the morning what I care about is what the weather report is, and if I keep switching to the weather in the morning, one day I won't have to do that anymore. So that's what Smart Rotate's about. Widget suggestions is they will look at what I do and they'll say, maybe you want to add a widget for such and such, and I could say yes. I don't use that very much, but I do use the Smart Rotate, but these are just on and off buttons like this, okay? So I'm gonna leave the Smart Rotate on, and I'm gonna pull this clock out, and I'm just gonna drag it out, and hopefully we see that I can put this, I'll put it right here. I did do it, oops. What did I do? I guess I just removed it. Yeah, so I guess I can't split it. I guess all I can do is take a piece out. Didn't mean to. Maybe I don't know everything, but I think I did what's right, and it didn't. It just went away. You can also hit a minus if it's in a stack. I'll do one more. Let's make another stack. Here's a stack of 3. If I go to edit the stack, it's easier for me just to hit the minus and take the clock out of it. Okay, so I could do that. All right, well, we're down to one widget, but it does everything, so that's kind of cool. Let's leave it like that. Okay, a 2-widget example. We've already done a 2-widget example, so that was easy. And now let's see if we can do something else. Yeah, so we've done that. We've done 2 times. We know how to do that. Okay, stacks. We know how to do that. Okay, we're gonna do a couple other special ones. I'm looking at the presentation real quick here because we've learned this stuff already. We're doing great. Okay, stacked widgets. Yeah. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could make a widget like the one I made that's got 3 totally different things. It could have 10 totally different things, and it would because you've got the Smart Rotate on, it would show you the thing that they think is right at the right time. Now, down at the bottom, you see they're showing me things that happened on this day, May 14th. I must have been near the ocean that day. So, if I touch that, then I'm going to see a little video that how they do their thing here. Yeah, so that was his birthday was yesterday, it was the 13th. So 7 years ago, I was up there in Oregon wishing him a happy birthday. Okay. So, but it's fun for those things to pop up. This is a nice way for them to sort of surface for you, is to put the widget on your home screen. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Oh, so let's say that in my super stack here, let's say I decided that I want to show the weather for somewhere else. So I can come in here and I can edit my stack, and I could, any one of these things, I could touch and edit that. We already know how to do that on a widget by widget basis. I could touch this and edit that. I could also, as it turns out, I could even do it right off the bat. If I wanted to edit the weather widget, I could touch it, hold it, and you'll see edit weather. It goes straight there. So it's a little shortcut. If I want to edit the time, I could be on the time, touch it, hold it, and you can see that it says edit clock. So I could do that right away. Not a giant savings of time, but there you go. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, now let's show you the so-called smart stack. So, you know, Siri right now is it's more than what most people think it is. Most people think it's that you're going to say something like, "Hey Siri, what's the weather like in Fresno, California?" And they're going to tell you, okay? Or I can say, "Hey Siri, how's Indiana doing in basketball tonight?" It's, you know, that's the kind of thing we're used to doing with Siri. Or we'll say, you know, "Hey Siri, set a timer," that kind of thing. Okay, but Siri is watching what you do, and they're trying to. Siri is trying to sort of make the things you do easy to do. So they want to kind of float things to the surface. So, for example, let's say you've got your phone and you want to do a search for a widget or a search for an app. When you pull down like this and you see these apps at the top, there's 8 apps there, and that says Siri suggestions. Those 8 are up there because Siri knows that's what I look at every day. I do a lot of text messages. I look at the New York Times. I write some notes. I look at the photos. I make some calls. I look at ESPN. I look at the settings, and I go to the calendar. They're betting that those are the right ones for me right now. Those are Siri suggestions. So when you look in your settings, it has nothing to do with widgets, but it's going to connect in a minute. But if you look at your settings for Siri on your phone and you see something that says use Siri suggestions, it's so it does stuff like this. In the morning, it shows me different apps, because in the morning, one of the apps I use is one that records what my bathroom scale tells me. So if I get on the scale, it tells me how much I weigh. It shoots it into an app if I've got that app open. So every morning, that app shows up in the Siri suggestions for me. So we can do the same thing with widgets. So let's see about that. I'm gonna make a widget that's, I'll put it right here in the middle eventually, but I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna make a new widget, and this widget is going to be, first of all, I'm gonna have Siri suggestions. That would be fine, and that means that I always see this widget with these key apps in it. But I'm going to look at a smart stack here. All right, I'm going to come down here and make a smart stack. So it's going to make me a smart stack that's either going to be small, medium, or large. Okay, so I'm going to take this one here that says the little guy. I'm going to say add a widget here, or maybe just for variety. Why don't I'll take this one that we haven't made a bigger one yet. Let's make that one. Of course, I just touched it on the yellow part. Of course, it didn't work, right? It never works. You got to touch where it says add widget. I should read my own notes. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, so this smart widget, let's say done to that. Okay, All right, so I'm scrolling through here. Here's my shopping list, buy some garlic. Here's top stories. Here's some VIP people that are on my list who I need to call back. And here's some top stories and all of this stuff. And here's the notes. So these things, if I touch this and hold it, I can edit this stack and I can, why don't we add something to it? Okay, I'm going to say, you know, I don't need, I think I don't need the top stories. I'm going to take that out, but maybe I'm going to add something to it. This will be fun. See if I hit this plus. Let's see if I can add something that's, oh, I don't know. I'm going to add a, oh, let's see. We'll see what's on sale at Best Buy. Okay, so, all right, so we'll add this widget, and now it's in there in my stack. So I got this, I got my smart stack going here. I touched it until it wiggled. I edited the stack right there, right, edit stack, and I hit the plus to add something to this stack. I think, why don't I add some weather to this too, as long as I've got a nice big thing going here. I'm gonna put in, I'll scroll down here till we find weather. I could type a W, but I'm gonna do it the hard way. Go to weather. All right, so we'll add that one. That's great. And I'm even gonna do, let's add one more. I just had this idea. Okay, I'm gonna add my steps. So I've got an app called Pedometer Plus Plus. I'm gonna add that in there too. So now I can see how many steps I've done today. Not very many, but I can scroll through this, and you know, here's all these things that I need to see fairly often here. Okay, so that's a smart stack. And a smart stack, even though it looks like a regular stack right now, it's going to show me the right thing at the right time if they can. All right. So if I'm fairly predictable, if I tend to look at my steps at the end of the day, they're going to show me that at the end of the day. All right. So that's a smart stack. Okay, let's see what else we have. I've got some, yeah, that's it. So that's about all we have about that part. Now we're going to do one more thing. Now we're going to do this is all built in. Everything I've done is with the system that comes with the phone and apps you already have. Okay, so you might not have the pedometer app, but it's a great app. Worth $1 or $2. What we're going to do now is we're going to learn about something called Widget Smith. Okay, so Widget Smith is an app. I'm going to show you some slides about it first, and then we'll do it for real.
Christian,
Yes.
quickie question. When you are scrolling through the smart stack,
Yes.
are you scrolling through it, or are you just tapping on it?
I'm scrolling. If you tap, you're going to launch the app that you're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a scroll. Good question. Okay, so let's look at this. I'm going to talk about the Widget Smith app. So everything was built in already, everything up till now. What I'm going to show you now is an app that you can get for free, but if you pay for it, you get more features if you pay. But it works perfectly fine for free, and that way you can play around with it. Now, when you look at this picture here, that's my real actual iPhone screen. That's what I use. If you can see my phone here, that's me. Okay, that's what I do. So I've got this nice big clock. That's not one of the clocks that Apple had. That clock was made by Widget Smith. Now, if you look really carefully, you can see below each widget is the name of the app that widget comes from. So, you know, the calendar is from calendar, weather's from weather, photos is photos. I use a to-do list called things. That's the bottom left. But then Widget Smith is up at the top. So there's no way to hide those things. There's no way to hide those labels. It's just the way it goes. But you soon quit looking at them and you look at the pictures. So how do we do this? Well, let's talk about Widget Smith. Now, you could look. It's an app for the iPhone itself. So you're going to go to the App Store. You're going to get Widget Smith. You can look for other apps, but I don't think you have to. Okay, there might be one that's better, but this one's great already. This is like, you know, well, if you found something you like, just stick with it. So this is really great. All right. So, and when you learn Widgetsmith, you can do really great things. Like here, I've got this, I think, a very pretty iPhone that works for me. I've got a black background, so my widgets really pop, and the clock seems to be floating there. It's just what I want. And so I'm going to show you how we go about that. So now here's a miracle thing. My clock that says 9:47 a.m. in that picture, because it's not live, it's not connected to me. At 11 o'clock p.m., it says go to bed. All right. It just says go to bed. It doesn't show me the clock anymore, because that's a reminder. I need to know. Okay. I need a little boost. And so and also it's fun as anything to do. So that's what mine does. Now, Apple's Smart Stack doesn't know how to do that. And another thing that Apple's widgets don't do, they don't do the same sort of things that we can do with photos in Widgetsmith. So we're going to just do a clock one, but you'll see in a second how this works. Okay, so I'm gonna run through an example here. Let's do it live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing, because you can always look at the notes. Let's stop sharing this, and let's start sharing the phone one more time. Okay. So I guess part of the point of making widgets for me is that I like the big stuff. I like bigger is better. I like to be able to see things without having to tap, and I like to see things without having to put my glasses on. Okay, so here they are. I should wear them, but I don't always wear them. So now we're sharing our screen. I'm gonna go to some screen where I don't have any widgets, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make a Widgetsmith clock like the one that I just showed you here. Okay, here's another one I made just for fun, different style, but let's just make one. Let's make one together right now. So first thing I got to do, I got to find Widgetsmith. So I'm going to search. So of course I can tap the search button down at the bottom, that tiny little button. I can drag down. I generally flick down, and I'm going to type in WID. All right. So there's Widgetsmith. So here's a little trivia for you. Widgetsmith is made by a guy named Smith. All right, David Smith. Makes it all by himself, and his app just went crazy. It went viral, and now this is his job. He's got Widgetsmith, he's got WatchSmith. He can make complications for your Apple Watch. So anyway, David Smith makes really high quality things. So now we have two kinds of widgets, and I really didn't go into this yet, but on even with a regular widget, there are widgets that we see on home screens, which is where we see all the icons, and there's widgets that are on the lock screen, which is what you see when the phone is locked. And an example of a widget on the lock screen would be like what you see. Oh, I wonder if you can't see it. If I lock the phone, can you see it? No, you can't. Oh, there it is. This is the lock screen, and you can see at the top underneath the clock, which is standard, we have two widgets. One is the pedometer one that you've seen that number before, the 1327 steps. Over there on the right, we see the temperature and the low and the high for the day. Those are lock screen widgets, and you can get those in a similar way. What we do is we wake up the phone, sort of. We tap it so it's alive, touch it and hold it till we see something like this. We hit customize the lock screen, and then we can add widgets up here. So I can, if I touch in this area, there's only this one area under the clock for widgets. I can put something else up there. So I'm going to put, oh, let's see here. I'll put a little calendar widget up there. I'm going to grab this calendar widget. I'm going to drag it up. It won't fit because they can only fit so much stuff up there. So I'm going to remove the time and temperature there, or the temperature one. If I can hit that minus sign and make it go away. Not doing a great job of that one. Let me just try again. I'm really trying to make my finger work. Not working. Come here. Get up there. Can I do it? Okay, I'm gonna try to remove a widget. I'm not doing a very good job. I'm gonna touch it. It's gonna wiggle. Minus. Okay, I finally got rid of it. Whew. Wasn't that hard. And I'm gonna take this. I got the steps already. Let's put my calendar up there. So I'm just gonna drag it up. So this is the same idea that you're customizing this. When we're done, we tap and say we're done. Great. But we're gonna do something with Widgetsmith that is that's just going to be a home screen one. So when I do this, I just wanted to show you that the reason there's two sections up here, home screen and lock screen. I totally ignored lock screen by mistake. Now we know what lock screen widgets are. We're going to make a home screen widget, and we're going to make something big. So here's the way you do it. With Widgetsmith, it's different than the widgets that you normally make. Normally, the widgets are already made, and you're just picking them out. With Widgetsmith, you've got to make your widget. You're going to make the widget that you want, and then you're going to add it. Okay, so first we've got to make it. So what are we going to do? Well, we're not going to make a small one. I want a big one. I want one that's, well, a medium-sized one. Now since this one that says big digital clock is one I've already made, I'm gonna make a medium widget myself that by touching add medium widget. Okay. So what is this widget going to be? Well, you kind of work your way across. So I don't want a photo widget. I don't want a photo widget. So we're not going to make a photo widget. We're going to scroll through here and we're going to find what I really want, which is I want a clock. So I've got to go find my clocks. I'm scrolling. Here's a time widget. Great. So I'm going to touch this time widget. And right away, we've done it, but maybe we want something, want to customize this a little bit. So we can hit the theme and I can pick one of their themes. Look at all these different styles I could have, okay? I think the ones with the stars you have to pay for, but let's pick one that we don't have to pay for, like this one. And now I'm going to tap save. And now you see that is one of my medium widgets. Okay, so in this category called medium widgets, I have this one called medium number 10. Well, that's a lousy name, right? That's a lousy name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch this widget again, and I'm going to rename it, because up here at the top where it says settings, I can touch settings, and I can name it. So I'm going to call this my, I'll just delete it here, and I'll call this my big, what color was that? Was that green? Or was it, it was beige or something? Okay, I'm just call it big clock, because I can't remember what it was. Big clock, okay? And I'm going to, there's no save here, but I'll just go back. And my big clock now looks like this. Now I hit save up at the top. And now when I get out of here, you see nothing, right? You see nothing. Well, that's because step one was make the widget. Now you could tell if you looked at my Widgetsmith, I've made a lot of widgets. I'm just not showing them all. Okay, I've got gobs of them. Here's a flowers one it's just my favorite wildflower pictures. Here's a couple of clocks. Here's the clock I actually use. Here's one that's just got a single photo in it. These are all things I made. I'm just not using them all. Okay, but now that we've made them, now we need to add one of those. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, what do we always do? We touch the screen until it wiggles. We hit the plus. We scroll around. Okay. And down here, what do you know? It starts with a W. So it's going to be right down here. Widgetsmith. Now, this is still going to throw you just a little bit, but not for long. I touch Widgetsmith. All they want to know is, are you using a small one, a medium one, or a large one? Well, ours was this size. And in the fine print there, in the gray, where it says medium widgets, then it says, once added, tap on it to choose which of your widgetsmith widgets is shown. So we add the widget, and it's a big blank. Well, it could be a big blank, but we're going to touch this, and we're going to tell them which clock I want. And the one I want is this one called Big Clock, the one I just made. Okay, and there it is. If I wanted it to be something else, like my other big clock, this one that my big digital clock, there's my big digital clock, that's what I called it. But I'm going to tap it. I'm going to put it back to the one that we made, Big Clock. Okay, and I'm done. So now I've got this big clock up there, and that's that was not too hard, right? I mean, there's a couple steps. You make the widget, then you add space for the widget, and then you tell it which one you want in there. Okay, there's a couple more things to do. So first of all, we were able to get something we couldn't do any other way. Okay, so we've done it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the fancy stuff here. All right, so we've done it. We did everything we did. I'm just looking at my handout, make sure that I've covered this. Okay, bing, bing, bing. Great work. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And there we go. Okay, so now comes the fun part. So I'm going to show you show you how to edit the theme. Let's say, so I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to tap my widgetsmith widget, and here's my big clock. I'm going to tap that, and I'm going to customize this thing. Okay, so you might see here as I move back and forth in this section, the location, I could pick a different time zone. The time format, I get to pick whatever kind of time format I like, as long as it's one of these. Okay. The theme, okay, let's talk about theme. I can go down here where it says customize theme at the bottom. Let's say I want to change the color of, well, first of all, I've got the font. The fonts that I can pick as I'm working back and forth on this. The fonts are listed here. The ones that I'm allowed to pick for free are the ones that don't have little stars next to them. So I'm going to pick copper plate, all right? That changes it right away. Now the tint, I can pick, here's a nice lime like this. I'm going to pick a background for me. I'm going to pick a background that's black, all right? So which color do I want? Well, I'm going to go find black. I think it's right there. That's pretty close to black. Whoops, I missed. Black. Close enough. And actually I can, I keep touching it, but there's black. So I'm going to save it like this. Do I want a border? I'll put a border on it just for laughs. I'll put a small border on it. And you can even put artwork in it, but I'm just going to say save, and I'm going to apply to this widget. I don't want to change everything. So when I go to save here and we look at our screen, there's our new widget. Okay. So it's really fun to be able to customize things this way. Now, this reminds me of that saying where, you give a man a fish and he eats for a day, and you teach a man to fish and you get rid of him all weekend, right? Well, this is sort of like you teach a man to use Widgetsmith, and you'll be staying up late playing around with this because it's fun. So I'm going to show you now how we make it change to do something else at a different time of day. So think about this, just what I'm doing with the clock, I'm just playing games. I'm making it so that I'm showing off so that it'll tell me go to bed. And I'll think, hey, I did that. I'm proud of myself. But you could make it show a different picture every 3 hours. It could be this picture. If you've got grandkids, you can make sure they all get equal time on your screen, right? It's this one, and then an hour later that one, and an hour later that one, and then you start over. So this timed business is really cool. So we're going to I'm going to show you a timed one, what it looks like. I'll have to do this sort of quick, but I'll do it. So I'm going to touch this, and I'm going to I'm just going to tap it and go to Widgetsmith. I'm going to tap my big clock. And what am I going to do next? Well, we're looking at our big clock, and if you look near the top, we've been at the top once where we changed the name of the widget from medium widget number 10. We changed it to big clock. We're going to touch where it says settings just below. And we're going to go to where it says timed widgets. So right now, that space up there, I know this, the clock here does not represent the space of the widget. It just represents 24 hours in a day. So what we can do is we're going to show it what we want to have happen at a given time. So here it's 6:26. I'm going to try to make something happen at 6:30 if I can go fast enough. So I'm going to hit add. When you hit the add button right in the middle there, it shows you kind of a little sector of time that they think you might want to do something. Well, I'm going to tell it that at starting at 6:30, if I can do it. Can I do 6:30? Oh, I can't do it. It's going to be, it looks like it's an hour increments. Okay, well, I'm going to pretend, I'm going to say that I'll do what I really do in real life. I'm going to come up here and at 11 o'clock, all the way until, I'll say, until 3 a.m., I want to go to bed. Okay, so now what's going to go up there? Well, as I've been dragging this around, have you seen this little widget following me around? We're going to change. So we're going to touch that. And what's going to go in there? Well, I could put a photo in there. That would be good. I could do, I can put in custom text. You see here, custom text. So I'm going to say, all right, here's my custom text. I'm going to edit this custom text, and I'm going to touch where it says text. And I'm going to say, hey, man, go to sleep. All right. I'll even put a period there. There we go. And I could format this and so on, but I'm just going to say that's it. And so what this is telling us is that from 11 p.m. until 3 a.m., it's going to show me that little widget that says, hey, man, go to sleep. It's going to take up that whole space. And after 3 a.m., it's just going to show me the time again. So all day long, it shows me the time as we go around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, all the way around noon, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. It's going to show me the clock. Well, now that I've done this, let's just say save. Now, it's not going to look any different now, but if it were 11 o'clock, where it says 6:28 p.m., it would say, hey, man, go to bed. Okay? So a timed widget is super powerful, and it's kind of up to you to figure out how you want to use that. But it's really the next level stuff, and there could be more than one timed widget. You could even have a clock that was all words. You could have one that from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. it would say, make sure you ate breakfast. And at 12 o'clock, it could say, hey, it's lunchtime, from 12 to 1. And at midnight, it could say it's bedtime. So you could do things that are all words if you want. You could show a picture at a certain time, whatever you want. And you can see here, I've mixed a clock with custom text. I could just as well put a photo in there that pops up at 6 a.m. to put a smile on my face. Okay. So that's that. Let me see where else we've got to go as we kind of turn in for home here. And that is it. That's what I've got. And I'm going to stop sharing that. And if you wanted to see, just for laughs, that is all, folks. Okay, that's all we got. So we'll stop that for now. Okay, so that's what we have. And that's about an hour's worth of stuff. So any questions about, okay, thank you. Hope you liked it.
Hey, Christian?
Yes.
I have a question. If you're going to show photos, can you just select one album? Like, do you have an album of cat pictures or something? Because randomly picking them, I may have like the instructions on how to cook something, you know, and that's
Sure,
not
sure,
what I
sure.
want to
Well,
have
let me
show up.
see. Let me find an example there. So album, let me just get to an album here. Just want to see what I got here. Okay. Okay, so I will do that right now. Here we go. I'm gonna share my screen. What do? iPhone, iPad, I do this, and I do we'll share this rascal. Here we go. Okay, so I'm using, of course, I'm using the very latest in iPhone technology, right? This is iOS 17.5 came out yesterday. Okay, so here I'm looking at my photos. You can see I've I painted the bathroom, so you can see the pictures of me painting the bathroom. It came out okay. All right, so maybe I'm going to put maybe something a better album than that, but that's one we're going to use. So what do? What do we always do? We put our finger on the screen until it wiggles. We hit the plus. We scroll around until we find photos. So I'll just run down here to the P's, photos. Now, the featured photos, that's what I did before. And that's fun because it's kind of a surprise. But I'm going to go here to album, okay? So it's going to shuffle through the pictures of this album through the day. Now, this happens to be a pretty good album, but I'm going to add this widget. And now I'm going to tap it, and I'm going to tell them which album I'm going to pick. I'm not going to pick favorites, okay? It could. Favorites is a good album, but I'm going to take, let's say I'm going to take, here's my, here's some, this will be my nephew's graduation, okay? So it's going to show me a different picture of from his graduation at random. I think, I don't know if I can scroll. No, I can't. It'll, but it's going to pick a different picture. So that's how you do it. Okay, you pick the album. If I don't like that album, I like that space, but I want to make a different album, I can just touch here, and we'll go find something else. Like here's the almond bloom out here in farm country. So there's a whole bunch of pictures like that, and it's going to go through them. So that's how you do it. All right, more questions? Did that answer that question?
Yeah, so you have to put them in albums first. You
Yeah,
can't
put them in
just
albums. That's the trick. Now,
use a search word like cats or.
If you don't put them in albums, and in WidgetSmith, you can just pick a picture. You say, I want that picture on my screen all the time. So WidgetSmith is there to sort of make it a little bit easier for you. Right. What else do we have?
Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. Anything else? No? Okay, well, I guess that's that. I will quit sharing my screen and turn it over to John.
Thank you, Christian. Well, there was some interesting stuff, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I'll be getting WidgetSmith and finding that I'm wasting time doing things here for a few days, figuring out what it can do. There's certainly a lot of things I think will be possible. Does anyone have anything to bring up before we close it out?
I just thought I'd mention what we were talking about before everybody jumped on here, John. For those of you who aren't aware, you're probably getting alerts, but there are updates to all your devices right now. So, so you might want to check on those and update your devices.
Good suggestion, Glenn. Oh, we're a very quiet crowd here this evening compared to usual.
You are.
I guess it's everyone's tired and had a long day. Well, if there's no one with anything to bring up, share, or ask questions.
Actually, one quick one, John, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This is for Christian. Christian, how much is a WidgetSmith?
Well, WidgetSmith is free to begin with, and then I think you can buy kind of an upgrade to it, which unlocks more fonts and more styles. And I haven't had the need to do it, so I probably should pay for it anyway because it's I am using it and it's a great piece of work. But
do you know, Christian, if is it a pay once sort of proposition or is it more like a subscription?
We're gonna find out right now. Okay.
I think it's a subscription.
WidgetSmith. I'm going to, what am I going to do? We're going to, what's new? Help. Oh, frequently asked questions. Like, how do I do it? Let's see here.
It's
I,
$199 a month,
Thank you.
$19.99 a year.
Just found it. Yeah, that's it. $1.99 a month. Holy cow. So not a lot, but anyway, you can beautiful. You can do it for free. So there you go. So somebody here was just mentioning in the chat. Oh, Glenn, that hockey calendar. If you go to my website, I've got a link to the. I've got the NHL playoffs in a calendar that you can use. Okay, you can.
Great, I'll check it out.
It's free. It's free. So I do that for NBA and other playoff type things. Okay.
By the way, John Connor, also, if that's interesting, knowing that you're an Apple Watch guy, you might check out WatchSmith as well. Similar thing, but for your watch.
Yeah.
Great suggestions.
Hey, Christian.
Okay, my pleasure.
Christian.
Yeah. Something else?
I just thank you for the way you had the backup where we could look at the slides, but also you did it 4 or 5 times, so we really got a chance to walk through it. I really appreciate your technique.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Okay. Hopefully do as well next time. So I look forward to being invited back. All right. So whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, we're always glad to have you here, Christian.
Yeah, thanks, John. Okay, well, I guess that's over. We're over and out. Do we sing a song on the way out? How do you end the meeting?
Well, if you do, you're going to have to leave because I can't sing.
I don't know the song. Okay. All right. I guess
all right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think we can wrap it up.
Beautiful. Okay.
Well, see you all in a month. And if you have a chance, join us for the coffee on the 30th. Otherwise, we'll be meeting again in June. I know that Glenn is going to be talking to Nathan about future programming between the two groups. And at our last coffee, we had a gentleman from the Washington Apple Pie user group who is also interested in perhaps doing some sort of shared meeting with them. So hopefully we'll have some interesting programming in the year ahead. So I guess that's it for tonight. Good to see y'all at the top, 34 of you out there on the Zoom call. So I hope you have a good evening and we'll see you in June.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Everyone.